Hi Leo, December is starting off with a lot of expansive, fun, fiery energy. We have the Sun, Venus, and Mars traveling through Sagittarius in your 5th house. You may be especially feeling adventurous, wanting to try different hobbies, new activities, especially related to creativity, creative self-expression as well. Now, you may not necessarily be feeling especially social this month, just because the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, is traveling through your 12th house, which can talk about more of a solitude, introspective energy. But in your alone time, you may still be having a lot of fun. Venus is moving away from an opposition with Uranus, which perfected on November 30th. So there is a lot of changes, unexpected shifts in your social networks, friendships, in the communities that you belong in. Venus is also separating from a trine aspect to Neptune at the cusp of your 9th house. This can talk about a very idealistic energy. Maybe you're dreaming about traveling, or you may actually be ending a travel as well, or a desire to study or continue your education in some area. Venus and Neptune involving the 5th and the 9th house does talk about expanding your knowledge, skill sets, and wisdom related to something that you just love and enjoy. On the 1st, though, Venus is perfecting a sextile aspect to Pluto in your 7th house. Now, when Venus and Mars are traveling through your 5th house, romance can fire up. There can be a lot of new interesting romantic potentials, situationships, but with Pluto on your 7th house cusp, some sort of transformation or major change is happening related to your romantic connections. When Pluto is aspecting Venus, love, social connections intensify, drive, attraction, and appetite also increase as well. So you may be experiencing some sort of a deepening of romantic connection at the beginning of the month. But Venus does move pretty quickly, and by the 4th of the month, it will have moved away from these aspects. On the 4th is also our full moon in Gemini, which is activating your 11th house. This means that some sort of culminations, conclusions are coming, especially related to your social networks, the communities you belong to, or just your sense of aspiration and dreams. Gemini full moon typically is related to culmination as a result of information. Communication is heightened. There's a lot of information and data coming through. So there is a lot of meaningful dialogue that is happening around this full moon. What's really interesting about this full moon in December is that the sun and moon are perfecting a grand cross with the nodes, meaning the south and the north nodes that are currently traveling through your 2nd and 8th houses. Now, these houses typically talk about finances. It's either, our finances versus shared resources, or what we make, how we earn money versus how we spend money or how we invest. So typically they do take on a karmic tone because the south node typically talks about experiences, events as a result of some sort of karmic cycles or patterns related to past life that's involving financial matters. So you may be experiencing some sort of dualities related to money, but especially related to information and data. Maybe you're getting some great information about stock options or investment information from your peers. The nodal axis, also involving Virgo and Pisces, can speak about giving and receiving energy as well. Especially Pisces North Node can talk about sacrifices or some sort of repaying of debt from your past life. So there can be themes surrounding that. Moving forward on December 8th, we do have a pretty tense energy coming into the picture. On this day, we have Mars in Sagittarius squaring off with Saturn in Pisces. This is involving your 5th and 8th houses. Mars and Saturn are both considered malefic planets in traditional astrology. They typically bring hardship and challenges. So on this day or around this time, you may have experiences where you are confronted with some sort of limitations, boundaries, or restrictions. It will likely test your endurance or, on the other hand, test your commitment. Mars in Sagittarius is a very fiery energy where we fight and defend and protect, whereas Saturn is some sort of limitations that stops us in our tracks, that kind of holds us back from where we want to go or what we want to do. So this can be a very frustrating energy unless you have personal planets, your natal placements that are being activated by this placement. So for example, if you have a planet in 25 degrees of the mutable signs, Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, then it's not, gonna it might not make a big impact on you. But if you do have something that is being activated, you can experience an especially challenging time, and actual hardship can come as a result as well. And this energy does continue on for a bit. So on December 14th, we have the Sun moving to square Saturn, while Mars moves on to square Neptune. When the Sun and Saturn come together, basically Saturn presents obstacles, limitations, and challenges to our ego, as well as our sense of vitality and spirit. So we can feel pretty beaten down around this time. And then with Mars and Neptune, it's like our physical assertion, our drive, and the energy that we output meets with some sort of void. Like there's no point to it. So Neptune kind of, sucks our energy into the void. Nothing comes out of it. So we can feel like our efforts go unnoticed, unrecognized. Our work either dissolves or vanishes without recognition or any sort of tangible result or outcome. So it can be a bit frustrating. And then on December 19th, we do have our new moon in Sagittarius. This is happening at the cusp of your 6th house. So the sun and moon are coming together around the 28 degrees of Sagittarius. Obviously, new moon energy is talking about new beginnings, birth of a new vision. This can be related to our day-to-day tasks, responsibilities, or even work-related activities. However, this new moon is squaring that Saturn and Neptune. So we're especially vulnerable emotionally on this day. We can experience a diffuse sense of ego, spirit, livelihood, or even direction. And just our capacity to trust in our own abilities or see what's in front of us is very foggy and hazy as a result of Neptune. So it can be a pretty uncertain time where we feel especially vulnerable, but it can be a time that births a new vision, new sense of inspiration. You just have to decipher whether whatever it is that you may be being poured towards to, or however you're feeling, is coming from a place of fear or intuition. Most likely, if we're feeling pretty negative and if our spirits feel less energized, less motivated. But since it is a square aspect, we're likely to be feeling or coming from a place of fear. But, if you have personal planets and strong aspects to Neptune in your personal chart, this can be an especially inspiring and creative time for you as well. Sagittarius energy is very expansive, and it really wants to expand your horizon and push you towards new opportunities and new horizons. So, it just depends on how your personal chart is laid out. The next day, the moon moves on to make a conjunction with Mars. When Mars and moon are conjunct, it can be a very heavy burden some energy, especially on our emotions. When moon is traveling through a sign, an earth sign like Capricorn, our emotions get poured down. In one sense, we're a lot more serious, but we're also pessimistic. We can even feel a bit melancholic or even experience depression, especially with Mars in Capricorn, which is an exalted placement for Mars. Mars is extra powerful, so it will overwhelm and overpower our emotional landscape. But Mars is not a friendly type of energy for the moon. It typically dominates. So our emotions can feel violated based on our natal placements. It can even be a very confrontational and aggressive aspect for us to deal with. So there is a bit of conflict, tension, especially related to work, colleagues, or our day-to-day tasks and responsibilities on this day. We also have Venus squaring Saturn on this day as well, which can make us feel especially unloved. So we may experience lower sense of self-esteem, self-image. Venus is, the way we receive love and receive affection, how we connect socially, how we connect with our romantic lovers and partners as well. So when that is being blocked off by Saturn, we just feel very undeserving. There's a lot of doubt related to our own sense of value as well. So it's not definitely an easy energy to navigate through, especially when Mars is also on our moon as well. A couple of days later, on December 23rd, Venus squares off with Neptune. We can feel a sense of void, detachment. We can even fall into deception and illusions. There is a potential for pain and disappointment as well. Some sort of sacrifice or hardship is demanded usually when Venus is squaring off with Saturn and Neptune, and Moon is conjunct to Mars. So around this time, just, blame the cosmos if you are feeling especially down, and if you can't seem to lift up your spirits or feel some sort of aliveness, livelihood. The way we are ending December is a bit more on a stoic or serious tone. From the 24th to the 31st, the Sun, Venus, and Mars are all going to be traveling through Capricorn, which is your 6th house. So this is time to just kind of focus on your day-to-day responsibilities. Although Mars does great in Capricorn, it brings in a lot of grit, determination, ambition. It is a more of a slow-moving energy, but it gives a sense of steadiness and stability, and which is probably a good thing after all the negative emotions we felt earlier in the month. But Sun and Venus in Capricorn don't do as well. Sun in Capricorn, although has a very serious tone, there is this pessimistic, melancholic outlook to life. So we are going to be ending the month off, or ending the year off, with a bit more responsibilities, I would say. But you would have the energy to, grind harder, and you can, focus on pushing ahead. But definitely, preservation is important. Self-care is important. I would try to preserve your energy and the time, effort, and energy that you give off to others or other things that are not your priority should take a back seat. I think that's all I have for you for the month of December, Leo. I hope the best of luck for you and happy holidays. Hope to see you in 2026.